Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Before we get going, somebody asked, how come at the beginning of your video there's that mirrored thing on the screen? What I just minimized. And what that is that's just the Google Hangout when you start a live stream. So for whatever reason, it looks that way. All right, before we talk about what's going on in the news today, December 11th, 2018, let's go back in time and look at what happened on this day in history. On December 11th, 1972, 46 years ago today, Apollo 17's lunar module landed on the moon with astronauts Eugene Cernan and Harrison Smith. They became the last two men to date to step onto the lunar surface. And I noticed that date had a life lesson number of 42. Outer space equals 42 like Freemason. Again, there's the shrine to NASA at the Masonic headquarters in Washington, D.C., the House of the Temple. Notice the word Apollo, as in Apollo missions, has that gematria of 91 like space. 91 is the 13th triangular number. Again, when you add 1 through 13, it equals 91. Think about the moon and its 13 cycles. Fitting name. Apollo in our base ciphers also sums to 28 like space and NASA. And using the two reduction base ciphers, space and Mason are both 17 and 28. Earlier in history, 1941, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States. The U.S. responded in kind. Don't forget that USA equals 41, but Germany being the more infamous nation from World War II, today's date that date in history, December 11th, 1941, had 83 numerology, Germany 83. And as you might know, the word murder is also 83. There's that song, Murder by Numbers. And what is war? It is essentially state-sanctioned murder, mass murder. A lot of dead people from needless wars that were planned for an agenda, what the world wars are. If you've not read my book, there's an entire chapter on wars by the numbers, how all of these wars started and finished on dates accordingly, by the code, every step of the way. It's undeniable. Especially when you see things like how World War I, Franz Ferdinand, his assassination supposedly blamed for the war, which doesn't make any sense. And the car that he was in, the license plate, the numbers on the license plate were the date that the war ended on in history. I mean, come on. Talk about being mocked. These people have been doing the same things over and over, contriving history by a code for a very long time. Also on this day in history, in 2001, in the first criminal indictment stemming from 9/11, federal prosecutors charged Zacharias Moussaoui, a French citizen of Moroccan descent, with conspiring to murder thousands in the suicide hijackings. So think about that. The attack was on September 11th. The first charges on December 11th. 11, the master number, the big number on 9/11, where it predominantly went down in the 11th state, New York, where the World Trade Centers look like massive 11s, 110 stories tall. Zacharias Moussaoui, his name has gematria of 113. And think about that. 3 months later, the 11th day, the tribute in light, remember the massive purple beams of light that were put into the New York skyline, that began on March 11th, another date that can be written 11/3 or 3/11. They love these numbers. Those charges, they came 91 days after September 11th, or a span in 92. With regards to 92, Manhattan equals 92. The World Trade Centers were in Manhattan. Think about the Manhattan Project, about how to develop the very powerful weapons, the type of weapons that could just turn buildings into dust. Like how the World Trade Centers crumbled to dust in midair. There should have been massive piles of building and debris where the World Trade Centers were when they fell, but there weren't. There were relatively small piles of debris. because almost the whole building disintegrated to dust. And then they called the site Ground Zero, where before September 11th, 2001, the only definition for ground zero was the point above or below ground where a nuclear or atomic bomb explodes. And, you know, think about it. Manhattan Project, Ground Zero, what happened in the 93 World Trade Center bombings. There were massive bombings underground. They had to work underground for many months. That was at the end of about 50 years of underground atomic and nuclear weapons testing that happened. Bill Clinton signed the end of the testing, and then the 93 World Trade Center bombing happened. And then, just think about it. What were they testing for 40, 50 some years, blowing up these big bombs underground? What were they after? Doesn't it seem a little bit in your face? I noticed this man, he was born in 68 too. How about that? Born in 68. It's like how World Trade Center construction started that year. 911 made the national emergency dialing code. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. His birthday to 9/11 is a span of 68 days. I feel bad for those of you guys who watch all my videos. But hey, feel bad for me too. I mean, how often do I have to repeat these things? It's just I know that there's always new people coming here. And people have to know these things. I mean, I think it's one of the most crucial things to know. All that went down in 1968, the planning of 2001. Don't forget the word terror equals 68, or the way Bush used to say it, terror. Terror, terror. Speaking of the whole nuclear weapon point, I'm going to tell you one more thing about 68, because I don't touch this one that much. But what is it? Nuclear weapon, 68. Some people like to argue that nuclear weapons don't exist. I won't pretend to know that they do. I know that we're made to fear things that probably don't exist in this world, but what I do know is these people have sophisticated weapons. Seemingly sophisticated weapons were used to turn those buildings into dust. Want to call that a nuclear weapon or something else? I mean, it's up to you. I just see how the whole thing comes together. You know what? I would like to go visit this man in the Supermax prison. I wonder if I can do that. Probably mind control MK Ultra project from birth, this man. Part of the master plan this man was. Bernie Madoff. He made off. Anyway, he was arrested on this day. Couldn't help but notice his birthday was the 119th day of the year. Orthodox 119, Star of David 119, Ashkenazi Jews 119. He was arrested 226 days after his birthday. Big New York man. 226 and 93 go together in the code, right? You write out 226, it equals 93. Numbers that have this special relationship in time, related to time rituals, kind of like the 93 World Trade Center bombing on 2/26. New York, 93. It was also his 227th day of his age, the number that has to do with pi and cycles and circles. Wonder about this whole Bernie Madoff story and what it was really all about. A lot of criminals in this world doing the same thing as Bernie Madoff. You never hear about it. Pope Francis was named Person of the Year on this day in history. We're going to talk about why they do that on this day in history. Time with its very Jesuit colors, red and black. Pope Francis, the first publicly Jesuit pope. The Vatican run by the Jesuits. Person of the Year has that GEmatria 71 like Catholic. Anyhow, I was just looking at these stories from last year. I was like, man, I can't believe those were already a year ago. I remember doing these videos last year on this subject. It seemed like it was just yesterday. Time is going by too fast. I was thinking about how I'm getting closer to 40 now than I am from 30. And it seems like I just turned 30. Because I've been sitting here for 5 years doing this straight. Anyway, Jamal Khashoggi, his face is going to be the face for the Time Person of the Year. And they're going to dedicate it to all journalists. But why do they do this? The Time Person of the Year on this day. Well, today, December 11th, leaves 20 days left in the year. And our most pure cipher, time, equals 20. Don't forget, in this same cipher, seasons is 20, cross is 20, like how the cross makes 4 sections like the 4 seasons, like how time's 4 letters. Death is also 20. And they're saying Jamal Khashoggi officially died October 2nd. October 2nd. The reason that's interesting is because from October 2nd to this announcement is 71 days. We just talked about how person of the year equals 71, right? So person of the year is 71. But not only that, but 71 is the 20th prime number. You know? So you see how this person of the year riddle goes with time and the announcement on this day in history. As I've been saying again and again, everything about Jamal Khashoggi that comes through the media is perfectly by the code. Perfectly. And I've done so many videos and blog posts now on Khashoggi. The latest before this was Jamal Khashoggi's last words, which came December 9th, 2018, 2 days ago, a date with 59 numerology. Like how the news first broke about his disappearance October 11th, 2018, a date with 59 numerology, like how his name equals 59, like how he was supposedly killed at age 59, like how in Jewish Gematria kill, or excuse me, talking too fast. In Jewish Gematria, the word kill equals 59, and in Hebrew and in English, Freemasonry is 59. And from that October 11th story to his last words was 59 days later. You know what else? You know what else? I think I'm having another epiphany here about time. I believe that time, when you flip the alphabetic order around, is 61. It is. So from the day the news broke to today's announcement about him being the face of Time magazine, 61 days later, on the day leaving 20 days left in the year. So there's even another tribute to time there. How perfect. I don't believe this story for a second, you guys. I mean, the mainstream media, it's a bunch of liars and propagandists and people who, you know, conspire in these criminal agendas. Jamal Khashoggi is one of these people. You know, even if he got it, I don't feel bad for him. But I doubt he did. He's probably living in Israel, sipping on martinis right now. So another media story with regards to time, Kathie Lee Gifford announces she's leaving today. Today, the day leaving 20 days left in the year. Notice the emphasis on today. When the media emphasizes a phrase, they're emphasizing the numbers. Today is 20. Today is a concept in time. It's the present. So what a day for an announcement. Plus today has 34 numerology. Gifford equals 34. She's 65 years old at the time of this announcement. Gifford and today are 65. How nice. This news, it comes 117 days after her birthday, or on her 118th day of her age. The story says she's going to step down in April. So she's going to stay on today until April, but the announcement comes today. And I was just thinking, maybe she'll end at the beginning of the month, April 1st. When you write out 13, it equals 117. April 1st is kind of like 41, 4/1. 41 is the 13th prime. So there could be a relationship with 13 here. 13 is connected to time, the moon, an object that measures time, 13 cycles a year. You also have the 12 constellations in the sun, a set of 13. Don't forget the word star has that gematria 13 as well. So, and you know, star, she is a television star. So she could just end April 1st. She says she's ending April 1st. I was wondering if maybe she'll end on April 8th. That's 118 days from today. And her name, Kathie Lee Gifford, equals 84. You know, 8/4 sign off. We'll see. April 1st or April 4th would make April 8th, a week later, it makes sense. Both days are Mondays. So just a little thought there. Covered this earlier in a separate video. One of the top stories this morning, gunmen opened fire. It was first reported that at least 4 were dead. They do this with almost all mass shootings. They'll start with at least 4 dead, and then they'll increase the number. But again, today's date had 61 and 34 numerology, like churches 61 and 34. I invite you to check out my longer video. There's a few other important details here. But just real quick, again, what I want to emphasize is that relationship with 20. Death, cross, time, seasons, all 20. in the most pure cipher, all related. The cross symbolic of time. With regards to Christianity, Jesus crucified on the cross, so it has an association with death. Of course, death is something that happens to all of us in time. And the other important point is a lowercase t looks just like a cross, and T is the 20th letter using the alphabetic order. You know, and time starts with a T. 4 letters, like 4 seasons, like 4 dead, like news by the numbers. So today we get another story of white privilege. What also not just white privilege, but a story of, being from wealth and how wealth trumps justice. When I was a young person, when I first signed up for college, I had a life path. This was before September 11th happened. I'd already picked out what my life path was going to be, and it all changed on September 11th. I took a scholarship to go to Arizona State University, an academic scholarship for the accounting program. And I wasn't crazy about accounting, but I was good at math. And I knew with an accounting degree, you could get into law school. And so this was my plan. I was going to, get my undergraduate degree and be a lawyer. And I knew that I wanted to go back and help underprivileged people because I understood what injustice was for poor people. I grew up in a poor community. I got to see my sister's boyfriend of many years. I got to see his life sabotaged by a false charge. And he was a young black man. And I thought I would grow up and help people just like my sister's boyfriend for many years, who was like my big brother. And, I just knew the system wasn't right for poor people. That was my understanding as a young individual. And I wanted to be part of that solution. But then September 11th happened, and then kind of a light bulb went off that, wow, the injustices in this society, it's more than just rich, poor. It's like the whole system is bankrupt and corrupt. And, I'm probably pipe dreaming if I think I can even go into this system and do anything or change anything. It's like the whole system needs to be torn down. And that's pretty much the path I've been on ever since, to wake people up to just see how bankrupt and corrupt this system is from so many different angles. And I never knew it would lead to this, what I'm now teaching about. But this is where the path has led me thus far. So anyway, this is a very graphic story. I mean, I don't know if I've ever read a rape story that's as graphic as this. I mean, it's almost like a pornographic movie, the way they describe everything. But supposedly this young man, all the evidence is there. They got everything that he drugged this girl, he raped her, he beat her up, he left her, in a horrible position outside. This is going on at a frat party. And the thing is, I mean, this kind of stuff happens all over the nation all the time. So it doesn't always make the news. Rich kids at fraternities. I mean, that's mostly who's in fraternities. There's some people who aren't rich. I got some people that were frat boys that don't come from rich families, but they come from middle-class families. But a lot of times it's the wealthier types that are in the fraternities, because fraternities are expensive. And I mean, anybody who's been to a frat party knows that, people are drunk and wasted and drugs are all over the place. And, young girls are getting taken care of not taken care of, excuse me. A lot of young girls are getting exploited behind closed doors at the parties. I mean, who knows every weekend how many places this is going on in the world. It's got to be massive. And sometimes it's probably a lot worse than others. But, date rape pills and chemical substances in drinks. I mean, the point is, this is an epidemic. This story right here is really graphic, and it's a story about how all the evidence was pinned on this guy, and seemingly there was no way he could get away with it, but because he had lawyers and money, it got squashed into this tiny little thing, and now he has a $400 fine and some community service. So is this story real, or is this story contrived for the media to remind of the reality of this world, that if you have money, you can beat the legal system? If you're white, you have a higher chance of doing so. It is definitely put out for that reason. But anyway, in terms of it being news by the numbers, the the man here whose face you see, his name's Jacob Walter Anderson, which has gematria of 74 and 115, like Masonic, also like the word plea. And he's taken a plea deal. This news is coming today, the day leaving 20 days left in the year. Plea equals 20. You know. The alleged incident happened February 21st, 2016, which was a date with 59 numerology. Freemasonry sums to 59 in Hebrew and English. And from the incident to the plea deal is 33 months and 20 days. 33. Masonry, secrecy order, 33. Just makes you wonder. In this world, it's often about who you know. There's no powerful fraternity in this world than the Masons in high places. Well, somebody out there would say the Jesuits. Sure, the Jesuits too. I see them as one and the same. It's happened in Texas, Baylor, again, Baylor University. Happened in the town of Waco. Waco's 42, like Freemason. Never seen my work on Waco? You better check that out. It's definitely covered in my book. I think the videos have all been deleted by YouTube. So it happens on your 18th channel, but what can you do? So anyway, more news by the numbers. We see why the story about this plea deal comes on the 20th, or the day leaving 20 days left in the year. There's probably a story like this every 3 months, maybe twice a year. Young white guy getting away with murder or rape. I actually got to catch this live today. Rarely do I see these things live, but I was like, what a show this is. What a contrived show this is. So Donald Trump was talking to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. By the way, Chuck equals 19, like chaos, and this debacle came on his 19th day of his age. But if you missed this, they were talking about the border wall. Donald Trump wants to build the wall. Again, he repeated the words that the wall will be built. The wall will be very effective. He said, just look at Israel and their wall. We're going to build it just like Israel. Like, yeah, just what I want to be like, just like Israel. Remember Donald Trump, in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day. So anyway, Donald Trump talking about how the wall will be built, arguing with Nancy and Chuck Schumer, and Mike Pence was just sitting there quietly. Why were they talking about the border wall today? Well, today has 61 date numerology, and what's border wall equals? 61. White House also has that gematria 61 when you use the most pure cipher and the rule for S. They were arguing in the Oval Office. Remember Donald Trump, the 45th president, announces the president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, 45. Something else we talked about a few times before is border wall has this gematria overlap with the president as well. But realize this political cage match, if you will, no different than the way they script the boxing matches, by the numbers. This came 261 days after Pelosi's birthday, the United States of America, 261. I'll let you do the math on Trump's birthday. Honestly, I just skipped it. I just saw the border wall thing enough, that being the central piece of the conversation. I said, okay, that's why they're doing this. And who likes any of these people, honestly? I know some people like Trump. It's sad, but it's true. But I mean, who likes Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer? Seriously. God, they are turds. They are floaters. All of them are. Anyway, Donnie and Marie Osmond's 33-year-old nephew found dead. Oh, nice. When did this story break? Yesterday, the date with the life lesson number 33? So this news comes out December 10th, 2018, right? Actually comes out the day after Donnie Osmond's birthday. His birthday is December 9th. And So I thought I'd do some more reading, and it said, oh, his death was actually last November. So I was like, well, when did he die? Okay, last November. So then in the article, they have this Twitter post from Marie Osmond, who announced it on what day? November 18th. Date was 67 numerology, blood sacrifice 67. What else do we know about November 18th? That's the 322nd day of the year, 322. The day leaving 43 days remaining. Masonic 43, killing 43, RIP 43. According to the mother, he had a long list of health issues, this 33-year-old born into wealth and privilege. I mean, really? You couldn't get some medical treatment for your 33-year-old? So anyway, I still wasn't sure if this was the date of death, so I had to do a little bit more researching. Supposedly he died in his sleep. So I found out that the date he died was November 9th. And I said, oh, of course, November 9th. Died on November 9th. Okay. So November 9th, what do we see about that date? 11 plus 9 plus 18 is a date with 38 numerology. Death, murder, killing, RIP, all 38. November 9th, 2018 was also a date with 58 numerology. Freemasonry, 58. Secret Society, 58. His name, Troy Osmond, has this gematria of 158 and 112. Let's talk about these numbers in a big way with what's going on over in Paris, France, home of the Scottish Rite. Well, not exactly the home of, but the longest home of the Scottish Rite. And also the home of the Jesuits. Freemasonry is 158. The Jesuits were formed in Paris, France on August 15th. They were officially established September 27th, but August 15th can be written 15/8, and the Jesuits operate in 112 countries. And with regards to him dying on November 9th, couldn't help but notice that Vatican is 119, which is run by the Jesuits. All-Seeing Eyes also 119. Special number to the Masons. Special number to the Jesuits. Again, which are pretty much the two-headed beast, as far as I can tell. So I'm sure there's a lot more here to the names and everything, but I just already seen enough with the dates and the news being released on a date with 33 numerology about the 33-year-old after Donnie Osmond, after his birthday, day after. So from Marie Osmond, it was from her birthday to the death was 27 days later. 27, ritual 27. She's 59, Freemasonry's 59 in Hebrew and English. So you want to be a celebrity? You know, this is seemingly the cost. You got to sacrifice your own family. And hey, speaking of which, there's a show on Netflix. I can't think what it's called right now. Shoot, what's it called? It's about a family with all these problems of wealth and well-known in the community in Florida. They have a beach resort. It's actually not a bad show, but they made that show about family drama exactly 33 episodes long. Can't think what it's called right now. I think Blood's in the name. Called Bloodline? Might be called that. But family does have that gematria at 33. Sacrifice of a 33-year-old in the family. Another thing that jumped out yesterday, 44 former U.S. senators urge current Senate to defend democracy in op-ed. Well, 44 makes me think of Trump because Donald Trump is number 45, but he's only the 44th person to be president. Again, because Grover Cleveland had a split term, messing up the count forever. So going all the way back to Grover Cleveland, the count's been off. The 25th president was the 24th person to be president, all the way up to president. This news, it did break on a date with 33 numerology and Federal's 33, like Masonry, like secrecy, like order. In the federal government, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. named after the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason George Washington. So, and who else would they be saying to defend democracy from? You know, Trump Trump, playing the character that he is, always acts like he wants to be dictator. Following the last Republican president who said this would be a heck of a lot easier if it was a dictatorship. And it might as well be, not too far off. Here was another story from yesterday, our 33 date. Supposedly 2 Ohioans arrested by the feds in terror plots. And, this guy is somewhere between a smirk and a laugh. And she is just like, okay, can we get this over with? How much am I getting paid for this again? So anyway, they're 21-year-old Damon Joseph and 23-year-old Elizabeth Lacrone. Again, the feds busted him. The news comes on a date with 33 numerology, federal, police, masonry, secrecy order. It's all 33. I noticed this guy's name, Damon Joseph. Notice in the base ciphers, the 48, the 177, the 51. I guess I should have been a little less lazy and just put it up there, but propaganda is the same in 3 of those 4 ciphers, 48, 77, 151. Damon's also 47, like how this happened in Ohio. Ohio's 47 in the same cipher. Elizabeth, name with 47 gematria to go with Ohio. The nickname for Elizabeth, a lot of Elizabeths go by the name Liz, just another 47. They didn't call her Liz in the story, but just pointing that out. But both of these arrests in Ohio, I see a lot of overlap in the names and the numbers. And a lot of familiar numbers. So supposedly Damon Joseph wanted to shoot up a synagogue. Sound familiar? Notice their combined ages, 21 and 23, 44, like how shooting's 44. The synagogue shooter got 44 federal charges, shooting and kill 44. And the other woman wanted to blow up a Georgia pipeline, right? Georgia, 44, shooting, 44. Must be a coincidence. The Georgia pipeline's supposed to probably give us deja vu about the Olympic bombings, the pipe bomber at the Olympics in Georgia. So looks like more news by the numbers. The story was this guy was approached by the feds who were pretending to be ISIS. When I read that, I go, well, I'm pretty sure ISIS is just the feds. Pretty sure it's just Mossad. Pretty sure that's all ISIS ever was. So anyway, that covers that story, or at least enough of it. Here was another good one. New York police pry a toddler from their mother's arms. This story broke yesterday, the date with 33 numerology. Again, New York police, toddler, they're all 33. I guess to go even further with that age of it being 1, the foundation, remember, 1 equals 47, like foundation equals 47, like government equals 47, like authority, like policeman equals 47, like cop equals 47. It's just, you can't even make sense of these things. It's like it's just meant to piss us all off. And it's also, a way to remind us that, like, this authority over us, there's nothing we can do about it. At least that's what they want us to think. I actually beg to differ. I think there's a lot we could do about it. Again, every weekend I just think about how many people are in these football stadiums, how many people are gathering to watch a game, watch men in tights playing this rigged spectacle. Not only are they watching to play this rigged game, but they're just paying all this money to see it. They're like, I like to drink beer, especially at the game when it costs $20 a can. I like popcorn, especially when it costs $20 a box. I like hot dogs when they're $15 a piece. I just think, like, how is this even happening? But I think, man, if I could just like snap the light bulb in all those people's heads and they all gathered instead of watch the men in tights play the rigged football game, instead they gathered to take down their local corrupt government, how it could just be done in a weekend. How many people gather every weekend during football season across actually across the world. I mean, football is going on all over the world. You got American football, you got traditional football. You got millions and millions of people gathering to watch rig sports. What if all of a sudden they woke up to the agenda? Said, you know what? This weekend, I want to be the action. This weekend, I want to just tear it all down to the ground. Then the next weekend, you could come back and you could have like a who's who of the best athletes in the neighborhood and put together some legitimate sports. Watch some authentic competition. You know? So, anyway, all of this stuff has to go. Cops are awful, but I don't know if they're this awful to tear a baby out of their mother's arms. I just feel like this story is just meant to piss everybody off, create more outrage, create more people acting up. You know, and notice this happened in Brooklyn. What do we know about Brooklyn? It's the synagogue of Satan land. The synagogue of Satan equals 223, like Brooklyn, New York, and Jewish Gematria and Masonics 223. You got Star Davids all over Masonic lodges. Don't shoot the messenger. Speaking of the synagogue of Satan and the Ashkenazis, yesterday in New York, another New York story, Nazi-themed posters found in various locations around the Sunni school. We got the 33 date, New York and poster both 33. What year did the Nazis come to power? Oh, was it 1933? It was. They replaced the, how do you spell it? The Weimar Party? Yeah, that's how you spell it. The Nazis replaced the Weimar Party, the temporary party that was in power after World War I when Germany was bankrupt and pissed off from paying all the sanctions from World War I. And does anybody know how World War I really started? Because I do. Germany started to carve up some land in Africa, and France and the UK, the two most Masonic nations in the world at the time, really didn't like it. Well, plus the United States, who ended up joining on their behalf in World War I. But, France and the UK, Germany was starting to encroach on the territory that they'd stolen. And Germany was coming in and stealing some territory of their own, and France and the UK really didn't like it. And the next thing you knew, there was a big world war. And did you know that at first they were planning to put Israel in Africa? Ended up going over a few different territories before they decided on the spot it now is in Israel. So anyway, it's just all news by the numbers. It always is. Don't forget Holocaust equals 33. Also sums to 42, like how it supposedly began in 42. How Zionism's 42. Freemason. Here was another good story yesterday. Another good old 33 story. Stefan equals 33 on the date with 33 numerology. Stefan, 33, was questioning the lunar landings 33 by the very Masonic NASA program. So check this out. This news broke yesterday. Steph Curry's got the Pi Day birthday, March 14th. From his birthday to him making headlines about saying he doesn't believe the moon landing, 271 days later. And why does that matter? 271's the 58th prime. It's the 58th prime. Freemasonry's 58. Secret Society's 58. NASA established in 58. Not an accident. Couldn't help but notice it was 38 weeks and some days after his birthday too, because in Hebrew, moon equals 38. The Jews identify through the moon. Kabbalah in Jew equal 38. English, Hebrew. So what's funny is if you read the article, what they point out is they say it's kind of a joke that Steph Curry would even question the moon landing at this point because the moon's not all that far away. And just last week, NASA put a lander on Mars, millions of miles away. It's like, oh yeah, I bet that story is true too. But it's true also, like how how many, what's it, billions of miles away, the Voyager, and it still has contact with Earth. Meanwhile, most of us can't even get a cell phone signal. It's like, wait a minute, the Voyager is from like decades ago, and it still maintains contact with Earth billions of miles away in unprecedented places that we don't know anything about, but we still can't figure out how to master the cell phone signal. You're just supposed to be illogical in this world, and you're not supposed to question authority. And it's just like, if you've ever read the child's book, the what's his name? Hans Christian Andersen, is that it? The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It's that story. Maybe that book's called The Emperor's New Clothes. But it took a little boy to yell out that the emperor was walking around naked. Everybody else was just believing the authority, that his clothes were so fancy you couldn't even see him. Something completely illogical. The other thing that they did in this article is they said, last year, another basketball player, Kyrie Irving, said the earth was flat. Now listen to this. The moon landing didn't happen. It's like, okay, the earth is flat. Again, to me, that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, if the earth was flat, how could you see different star constellations from opposite hemispheres? That doesn't make any sense. Plus a few other things. But us not going to the moon, there's a lot of sense to that, especially when you know GEmatria. Again, a lot of people say that the moon landings were filmed at Area 51, Moon 51, Conspiracy 51. Notice Conspiracies 51 and 57. So is Moon 51, 57. Outer Space has this GEmatria 57. And in the most pure cipher, outer space is 42. But when you use the rule for S is the 19th letter. The numerology of 19 is 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. Outer space can be 51 as well. So the word Freemason is just like that too. Freemasonry in space, Area 51. What are we supposed to think Area 51 is? Where they have all this top secret knowledge that we can't know about. Doesn't that sound like a conspiracy? Conspiracy 51, That phrase, tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat's 51 and 57 like conspiracy too. You see that? What do you know? What do you know? And sometimes I almost think that tinfoil hat was some foreshadowing, actually, like another kind of like sick joke in a way. All the raves and radiation. Who talks like that? What cartoon characters has a Porky Pig? Radiation. But just, you know what I'm saying? All the stuff just going on in this world, all these signals and, I'm here, I'm right next to it right now. I got the wireless next to me. I got the Bluetooth. Now I got the cell phone. I just keep hoping if I eat well, I'll survive it all. You won't know until you know, though. So now to get into some sports headlines, MLS champs. If you've ever seen my older work on the MLS, it's all 33 from the beginning. But MLS champs trophy goes to Booty Club. It's twerk time. So this happened down in ATL, Atlanta, on the 33rd parallel. They took the championship trophy to the Magic City Booty Club. I imagine that's a strip joint. But again, date with 33 numerology. They took it to Magic City, Magic 33, like ATL 33. What's a strip club? Sex club, essentially. Sex 33. Atlanta on the 33rd parallel. You know what I just heard yesterday? My girlfriend's been listening to this this man, this speaker. He has all this knowledge. He talks about on all these things. And yesterday I heard her listening to one of this man's lectures, and he was talking about, how one of the greatest tragedies of our time is that we have this resource, the internet, and we can share all this information. We can seek all this knowledge. And overwhelmingly, nobody's using it for that. They're using it for trivial things, for entertainment. And he said, worst of all, he said, according to his research, that over 70% of all internet traffic is for pornography. And that almost, like, I'm like, is that really that high? I mean, I know that a lot of people are, seeking porn on the web, but 70%, because I'm just thinking about all the different functions there are for the internet. There's YouTube videos, there's streaming, there's social media, there's video game players, there's day traders, there's this, people actually looking for. So out of all these things, still, the majority of the pie is porn. And speaking of which, the word porno has that gematria 33. Most people don't call it that anymore. They say porn. But porno does have the 33 thing, like sex. So I just thought this was another opportunity to sell some more sex by the numbers. Remind people, hey, get out to those strip clubs. I was driving for Uber and Lyft, picking up so many people from the strip clubs. Actually, when you drive for Uber and Lyft, you actually meet a lot of sex workers. And, everybody's got to do what they got to do, So you got to pay the bills. But sex, it is a massive industry. And I'll just remind you, for all you guys who pay for escorts, I can't tell you how many escorts I picked up at one hotel and took to another hotel when I was driving for Uber and Lyft. I mean, you can always tell when it's an escort, right? She's going from hotel to hotel, the way she's dressed, usually attractive, bigger breasts hanging out. It's not hard to see what's going on. And, a lot of these girls are nice girls, but it's just like, man, I don't know. Again, do what you want to do. But for all you guys that pay for that, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe you don't care, but to me, it's just like, God, really? You want to hook up with a girl who was just hooking up with another dude? Don't let me judge you. I'm just throwing out my own thoughts. Okay, and then just for a little sports recap, last night Pete Carroll picked up his 87th win as the coach of the Seahawks in the regular season on his 87th day of his age. On our sports picks, I did suspect it would go this way. Seahawks equals 87. He took one home for the 12s. 12 equals 87. You see that? Seahawks 87. 1287. Pete Carroll's 87th day of his age. He gets his 87th win, and he does it on Monday Night Football. And notice we're just using the alphabetic order in the rules of numerology. Those are the two ciphers that I started out with. I used to not know the reverse. But that was quite the alignment. And it was week 14, and the Seattle Seahawks win the last game of week 14 by 14 points, where almost every single point was scored in, the final 3 minutes of the game. What was the score? 6-0 with like 3 minutes left. That's what I love about the NFL, these games where there's no scoring the whole game, and then all of a sudden it's just like, bam. Everybody's just going down the field like a knife through butter. Anyway. And they do this all for the spreads. And anyway, don't forget that Seattle Seahawks equals 43, which is the 14th prime. It was MNF with the alphabetic order is 33. Kirk Cousins had his 33 attempts. Oftentimes you don't want that 33 coded on you in the game. It's like the number of sacrifice. When you flip the alphabetic order around, Seahawks is 48. Don't forget they won their only Super Bowl 48 with 43 points, the 14th prime. They won that Super Bowl 43-8, beat the team from Colorado. Colorado in football 43. And again, the reminder that why other ciphers are important. The first ever Super Bowl was won by the Packers with 35 points. Football in Chaldeans 35. Super Bowl's 35 in septenary. Difference of 35 points. You'll only see it by studying the code and learning the relevant ciphers. But again, if you stick to the base 4, you'll know enough. Also, thought the Lakers would beat the Heat last night. Again, if you want to sign up for the sports information, it's the $5 tier a month on my Patreon. For all of you who want to watch these live streams live Monday through Friday and be part of the call-in line, it's only $1 a month to get all of the live streams plus some additional content. You get to do the Friday Night Live Sports Decode, so you can learn a bit about sports for $1 a month too. But we did like the Lakers to win last night because LeBron would become 11-4 at home. You know, I pointed that out multiple times. Look for LeBron to be 11-4 at home this season. LeBron James 114. Notice also the 66. LeBron is also 66. Lakers is 66. In Jewish gematria, the word king is 66. Look at the Heat's record. They became 6-6 away with the loss against LeBron James, King James. And of course, LeBron used to play for the Heat. And the other thing is, we have 213 combined points, like LA's the 213 area code. And in the past, I've talked about some big 213 riddles with LeBron. So, and for one more note, the Lakers did pick up their 35th win against the Heat last night. King James 35. When LeBron left the Cavs to play for the Heat, their record in the prior season before they got LeBron was 47 wins and 35 losses. When LeBron went to play for the Lakers win record in their prior season was 35 wins and 47 losses. Think about how he was coming from Ohio 47 both times. Think about how LeBron went to 3-5 in finals the year the Warriors got Kevin Durant, number 35. So those were some of the more important points about last night's game. Lakers picked up that symbolic 17th win, like how LeBron joined the Lakers on July 1st, 1/7, NBA 17, Ohio's the 17th. The Lakers' next championship will be their 17th. So there was that. And people asked if I could look into the death of this Google employee as well. We'll close out here, and then I'll open up the phone line. If you want to get your call ready, the number is 509. Oh my goodness, I can't think for a second. 509-731-0567. That's the number. Be taking calls in just a moment, but people asked if I could look into the death of this Google employee. This news broke December 8th, 2018, which was a date with 38 numerology. Death, murder, killing 38. So date with 58 numerology, Freemasonry 58. He didn't die on this day, though. He died on Pearl Harbor Day, Friday, December 7th. He was found dead late December 7th. And oftentimes when Google's in the news, it's synced up with the CEO, and this is true for all companies. But I noticed the CEO's birthday is July 12th. July 12th. Employee dead December 7th. Those dates are reflections of each other. They can both be written 12/7 or 7/12. This man's also 46 years old, the sacrifice number. When the date's written 12/7, like 127, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 127. The date of December 7, 2018 was also a date with 57 numerology. Scottish Rite equals 57. I don't know if this man's part of the Scottish Rite. I know that Google and a lot of these major corporations are completely under Masonic control. Google with their Google Doodles often have tributes to Masonry. I wouldn't be surprised if this man was a ritual sacrifice on this date, which is already associated with death in history, Pearl Harbor Day. So he was 22 years old. The word murder equals 79, the 22nd prime. I couldn't find his birthday, so I couldn't measure it with his birthday. It could be a big clue right there. There's limited information, so it's hard to do much of a decode. But, you know, when a 22-year-old's found dead and there's no sign of foul play and they say nothing suspicious, you know, my only thought from knowing about Google is every Thursday, Google takes care of their employees really well. Every Thursday, Google employees love Thursday because, and sometimes they do it on Friday as well. I don't know if they did it on this Friday, but every Thursday, what Google does is they have a party after work, and it's open bar, all sorts of alcohol, all sorts of good food, and sometimes they do it on Fridays as well. But the only thing I could think of is, I mean, did he die from alcohol intoxication? Did he drink too much? That wasn't in the news. They just said he was found dead. No sign of foul play, nothing suspicious. These tech company employees, they do work really hard. I mean, can you die from sleep exhaustion? I don't know. So. All right, True Seeker, I'm going to open up the phone line if anybody wants to call in today. The line's now open. I'm also going to take a peek in the chat, see what's going on there. Hopefully this live stream's still going. Be something. I've just been talking to nobody. Okay, it looks like we're in business there. All righty. And, hello, chat. Natalie did a little gematria. Nice work. She noticed his name equals 45 like ritual. We got a caller here from Arizona. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Doing well.
Yeah, I had to laugh this morning. I just had a little bit on that a parlay last night. I did the Seahawks and the Lakers. It paid a little bit better than even money, so that cashed in. But I didn't see the score of the Lakers game until this morning. But when I saw the score, I'm thinking, are they going to get 114 points? But then when I saw it sum to 213, I just had to laugh.
Yeah, they always got to have the tribute.
Yeah, it always is, man. It's always the same. The day has 41 date numerology. So I'm wondering if there are going to be a bunch of Super Bowl riddle things or anything today. Did you catch anything?
That's it. You know, I didn't think of that until now. I'll pay attention to see.
One.
Okay, hit me. I didn't get any, so.
I laughed my ass off. So at work, I'm showing these guys the stuff with Gronkowski. You know, his birthday, 209 days from the Rick game, and Miami Dolphins equals 209, and I can't remember what he said. I got to make that tackle or whatever equal 59, like it had 59 date numerology. Well, they came out with another article today. It said, in quotes, Gronkowski, I did sucky. I mean, that sounds like coming from a 5 or 6 year old, you know?
Right.
He said, I did sucky. I did sucky equals 57, the championship number. When you take the alphabet, you turn it around, and you apply the rules of numerology. I did suck equals 57. New England Patriots equals 269, which is a 57 prime.
Oh, nice, man.
So there you are. That was my little thing I saw at work today. Right when I was showing somebody, some article came up, and I saw that, and I'm like, I just did it right there, right on the spot, man.
I did sucky. That is funny, man.
Oh, they're just mocking us, people. I was talking to my father a little while ago, and he's on board, man. He hasn't even researched it. He's like, yeah, it seems like it's all scripted. It's all fake. I said, exactly, Dad. I said, you see it now. You know, I mean, he can't look at these games anymore and then just not see through them. You know, it's as clear as day.
Right. It is as clear as day, especially when you know what they're doing with these riddles in the headlines. So great call, man.
It just makes it even more definitive proof of what's going on in this world. Hey, spread that news, people. Do not have the courage to talk about this. That's what we gotta have. We gotta have courage. You know, Don't be embarrassed. Just like I told my dad today, and I tell everybody, I don't care if people think I'm crazy or nuts, because I know I'm right. When you know you're right, it don't matter what anybody else thinks.
Right. I agree.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
All right. Take care. Great call.
You too. Bye-bye.
I love that guy's a postman. My buddy's a postman too. So here we got another caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, how you doing, man? Speaking of the Patriots, are you still going with them to win the Super Bowl? Or you're still doing research because they're like 4-1 now to win. So
I've never come off the Patriots. Yeah, I'm still with the Patriots.
But came off that.
I never came off the Patriots.
Okay, but you mentioned that it might be the Bears, and then that you may be playing or the Saints.
Right. I'm still not certain on the NFC opponent. That's taken me some time this year. I'm not seeing the big clues like I normally see. Well, I mean, we've seen some big clues all year, but I haven't seen the definitive clue that makes me go, okay, it's a lock for the NFC team.
Okay. Would you recommend put something in on the Patriots at this time, or should we wait till you do a little more research, or what?
Oh, well, I've been recommending to make a bet on the Patriots all year. I mean, it's always a risk, but yeah. And 4-1's a good indicator at this point after week 14. When you write out 14, it equals 41. Super Bowl's 41. Tom Brady's 41. He saw a bear in the woods in Montana, the 41st state in the offseason. So.
All right. Thanks, pal.
All right, take care, man. All right, you guys, we're at the hour mark. Let's wrap it up here for today. We'll definitely be back tomorrow. And just a reminder, GEmatria School's on pause for the rest of the month, but I will put another post up at the top of the page with all of the links for GEmatria School. There's 9 episodes to watch. If you have not watched them yet, you'd especially got to watch the first one. The first one is so important. And please watch the rest if you have the time, but definitely watch number 1. It'll get you caught up on a lot. And I am, for all of you on the Patreon, I am working on editing the book right now. The page numbers are in, improving a few things and a few nuggets in. All of you on the Patreon at the top tier are going to get that new edition of the book, which will be ebook. And I might take January off. Well, most of January, not all the way off, but a lot of January off to get out a new book, 2018 in review. The biggest stories of 2018. And again, if you're at the top tier, you will get that book for free as well. I got to get 2018 in GEmatria in review, this book done somewhere near the beginning of the year. And I figure why not do it in January? So just letting you plan ahead what I'm thinking and looking at. And also, my girlfriend's warming up to the idea of going to DC. So I expect to have that announcement. I already wanted to have it out, but I am still planning the first couple weeks of April. That is when it'll be, but I'll make the announcement when everything's booked and squared away. And I've been advised to stay in Virginia at a hotel right along the rail line. So I'll be looking to do something like that and see if we can make a mass booking thing happen. I guess if you get it on that rail line, you can get to most places, so, and avoid the traffic. All right, True Seeker. Thank you again. Appreciate all of you being here. Be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day and evening. Until next time.